What are your thoughts about the way McLean reacted when police first started to detain him? They said, "Stop, you're acting suspicious." Looked to me like he was just walking somewhere with a grocery bag in hand.
You're exactly right. And in fact, the 911 caller who called in the fact that he was walking said he wasn't suspected of committing any crime. He may be a good guy, he may be a bad guy. He just didn't know. He just looked sketchy because he was waving his arms and wearing a mask. But nobody was in danger. He didn't have a weapon. He was just walking home. There was no legitimate legal reason for the police to stop him, much less to grab him, to tackle him, and, as you know, to inflict 2 carotid chokeholds, about 15 minutes of other sorts of horrible force, and ultimately a massive dosage of ketamine leading to his multiple heart attacks. I mean, it's beyond tragic.
Yeah. You know, Maria, I'm sure that you, as you mentioned, the person who made that call saying that, look, there's somebody out there that looks sketchy or whatever the word was that he used, suspicious or otherwise. There are those online that are saying that particular person, those that made those calls, should also be held accountable. What do you think of that? And is that even possible?
Well, I certainly think that in the instance of the very obvious cases, for example, the young woman, Amy Cooper, who called 911 on an African-American birder in Central Park, right, who said, an African-American man is threatening my life. Now, that was obviously false and obviously a race-based target to try to cause that man harm. Certainly, on those kinds of circumstances, the caller should be held accountable. In this call, you know, I think this really is on the police. This is a reason why law enforcement need to exercise judgment. I mean, this is a young man who's just walking home. So if they had stepped back and just observed him for a moment, they would have seen, in fact, he was walking home, and they should have let him go about his business. So this is, I think, speaks much more to the reasons why we need to reimagine what the role of police in America is. There are many, many 911 calls that do not require a militarized response, and this was certainly one of them.
Yeah. Mari, how is it that the autopsy was cited as being unconfirmed cause of death when, as you suggested, multiple heart attacks, ketamine in his system? How did that add up?
I don't believe it does add up. In Colorado, the coroner is actually an elected position. So while the autopsy is performed by a medical doctor, it's overseen by an elected political operative. And in this case, the autopsy was attended by 2 members of the Aurora Police Department, the very department that killed Elijah McClain, as well as 2 members of the district attorney's office. And so it was a very politicized process. The fact that the autopsy came out as inconclusive is really mind-boggling. I mean, were he allowed to have walked home, he would be alive today. He was a perfectly healthy 23-year-old young man.
Do you think the coroner's going to have to answer to this too?
I certainly do think so. And the fact that the autopsy came out as inconclusive, giving bending over backwards, really, to give all kinds of alternate reasons why he might have died that don't make a bit of sense. I mean, you know, it really just it boggles the mind that they tried so hard to say everything but the truth. This was very clearly a homicide.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.